Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity for us to continue with our session in answering the questions that are posted. We pray in this blessed and month of Ramadan, 5 hari bulan April. Soalan, jika dia mengikuti bermula berpuasa pada esok hari, iaitu 2 hari bulan April, dan pulang ke Singapura dan menjalankan ibadat puasa, maka jumlah puasa akan mencapai 31 hari. Apakah ini dibenarkan? Pertama sekali kita nak kena faham soalannya, ya. Kita faham ini soalannya. Soalannya, seorang ini sekarang dia berada di Australia. Apabila berlaku bulan Ramadan, dia berada di Australia, dan kebetulan ini di Australia mereka puasa 1 hari sebelum Singapura. Ini apa yang saya faham daripada soalan ini. Dia berpuasa yang ini 1 hari sebelum Singapura. Nah, jadi apabila dia berada di Singapura, kalau dia puasa ke semua bulan puasa yang ini di Singapura, dia akan puasa 31 hari. Adakah ini dibenarkan? Bahkan ini kita mengatakan diwajibkan apabila seseorang itu berada di sebuah negeri, dia beraya bersama mereka. Yang ni bukan maksudnya misalan dia dah puasa 1 hari di Australia, selepas itu dia puasa 30 hari di Singapura. Tak perlu dia puasa ini pada hari yang ke-31. Tidak diwajibkan dia puasa. Diwajibkan dia puasa bersama orang Singapura dan dia beraya bersama orang Singapura. Diwajibkan dia puasa yang ni hari ke-31 di Singapura. Sebab yang ni orang di Singapura menganggapnya hari ke-30, maka diwajibkan dia puasa di mana dia berada. Jadi hukumnya balik kepada di mana dia berada. Kalau dia berada di Singapura, maka wajib ini dia puasa mengikut ini orang Singapura. Kalau dia berada di Australia, maka dia puasa ini mengikut ini kepada raya Australia. Cuma kalau sekiranya dia puasa kurang daripada 29 hari, maka diwajibkan dia melakukan qada 1 hari. So the question is asking, a person is in Australia in the beginning of Ramadan, and then he fasts in the beginning of Ramadan, first day of Ramadan, which Singapore has not fasted. Then he flew to Singapore, and if he fasts in Singapore, he will fast an additional of 1 day, that is 31 days, because he fasted 1 day in advance in Australia. Singapore he fasted 30 days. This is how I understood the question. So the question is asking, is this permissible? We say this is compulsory upon him to fast in accordance to how the Singaporeans fast, how any fasting of Ramadan in Singapore. So he has to fast whenever people fast in Singapore in the month of Ramadan. It is wajib for everyone to fast, whether you are a traveller, whether you are muqim who has came back from travelling. But since you are in the country, it is compulsory upon you to abide by the rules of the country, of where you are in. It is not permissible for you to follow the country where you were from. So it always goes back to where are you in the month of Ramadan. We have to fast in accordance to those who are fasting in that particular region when it comes to the early month of Ramadan, and likewise when it comes to the end of the month of Ramadan, and when it comes to the Eid. So our Eid is with those who are with us at the place that we are in. I hope it is clear, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Waalaikumsalam. May I check if a girl can pray jamaa with 2 or more men who are friends, non-mahram, please? Question is asking, is it permissible for a girl to pray jamaa with 2 men or more men, yani in a place, and these men they are non-mahram. Any non-mahram, meaning they got no blood ties. They got no any blood ties, or they got no ties with regards to marriage or breastfeeding. So before I answer this question, and it is important for us to understand, it is haram for a man and a woman to be in a secluded place. It is haram for a man and a woman, yani one man, one woman, to be in a secluded place. This is based on the many hadiths of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to the nearest meaning the Prophet mentioned, if a man and a woman are in a secluded place, then was shaytan usalisuhuma, shaytan is the third. So Islam gives a solution to avoid for humans to avoid being in a secluded place, because this can lead to zina, this can lead to things that what you call it, we do not want. Yeah, so it is not any permissible for a man and a woman to be in a secluded place. So when we understand this concept, and we will understand that it is not permissible, it is not permissible for a man and a woman to pray together. Meaning the man becoming the imam, the woman becoming the mahram. So if it is one man and one woman, this is not any permissible. Why? Because this is khalwa. It's what we mentioned, this the term khalwa, when a man and a woman is in a secluded place and they are non-mahram. Unless if they are mahram, any brothers and sisters, for example, then there is no issue. But this question is asking, how about two men? Now this is a point of difference amongst our scholars. Al-Imam al-Nawawi in the commentary of Muslim mentioned it is not khalwat. What is not khalwat? Yani if a woman with two men, with two men is not considered khalwat. By this opinion, we say it is permissible. It is permissible for a woman to pray with two men, because this ruling differs, and this is the opinion of Al-Imam al-Nawawi. But it is better to avoid. It is better to avoid. But if it is more than that, if you have many men or many women, then it is permissible. It is permissible. But when it comes to matters of differences, as what many times we mentioned, that if there are matters of differences, it is better for us to avoid. It is better for the woman to pray by herself, and the man to pray by the two men to pray by themselves. But if they perform the prayers, of course the prayer will be valid. In this case, we say it is permissible, but it is better for them to avoid, as what we mentioned. But when it comes again to the one man and one woman being in a secluded place, we say it is not permissible. We got no differences amongst the ulama pertaining to that. But the prayer is valid. So we have to understand there are certain things is haram for us to perform, but the prayer is valid, because why? As long as the integrals and the conditions are present, the prayers are considered to be valid. Soalan ini menanyakan, adakah dibolehkan seorang wanita melakukan solat dengan dua lelaki yang bukan mahram? Maka ada pendapat dalam mazhab Al-Imam Syafi'i, seperti mana disebutkan oleh Al-Imam Nawawi, mengatakan ia dibolehkan sebab ia tidak dikirakan sebagai khalwat. Maka menurut pendapat ini, maka tidak ada masalah kalau sekiranya seorang wanita melakukan solat. Tetapi lebih baik dia elakkan, sebab ada ulama yang mengharamkan, yang mengatakan ia adalah sesuatu khalwat. Tapi solat ini tetap sah dalam apa saja keadaan. Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Waalaikumsalam. Can someone who is on dialysis treatment fast? They can fast if fasting does not cause any harm to them. But if the doctor says for example that if they fast, some of the body parts will be in danger, for example, that there will be internal bleeding, or there will be serious diseases or serious sickness, then it is not permissible for them to fast. But if they are able to fast, then it is permissible for them to fast. So this goes back into the situation of the person who is on the dialysis. If a person fears for his life, it is permissible for him not to fast. But if a person is confident, and the doctor with the doctor assurance, for example, saying that this person can fast, then it is permissible for him or for her to fast. Soalan ini menanyakan, seorang yang menjalin dialysis, adakah dibolehkan dia berpuasa? Dibolehkan dia berpuasa kalau sekiranya puasa tidak mendatangkan mudarat kepadanya. Kalau sekiranya puasa mendatangkan mudarat, maka dia tidak boleh melakukan puasa, seperti mudarat yang besar, mudarat yang boleh menyebabkan maut, mudarat yang boleh menyebabkan hilang fungsi sebahagian daripada anggota badan, yang misalnya boleh menyebabkan pingsan, boleh menyebabkan penyakit-penyakit ini yang bahaya, maka tidak boleh puasa. Dia tidak boleh puasa, dia hanya bayar fidyah sahaja. Sebab qada pun dia tidak boleh. Selepas Ramadan juga dia tidak mampu qada, maka bagi orang seperti ini kita mengatakan diwajibkan dia membayar fidyah. Bagi tiap-tiap hari yang dia tidak puasa, dia membayar 1 mud. Tapi kalau dia boleh puasa dan doktor mengatakan tidak ada masalah, boleh puasa, maka tidak ada masalah, dia boleh puasa dan sah ini puasanya. Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Waalaikumsalam. I know if it is permissible to have a bird, many parrot as a pet. Yes, it is permissible, but there is a condition. The condition is that you do not harm the animals, and you must give the sufficient any amount any of food and drink. Must give any the sufficient any amount of food and drink. Based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, yani that a woman was made into enter into the hellfire because any of mistreating any her cat till the cat died, and she did not any give any food any or drink any to the cat, then this is haram. But if a person any keep any pets and they take care any of their pets, meaning giving any food and drink and not any torturing any the animals, then any it is any permissible. Soalan menanyakan adakah dibolehkan kita mengambil burung ini sebagai binatang simpanan. Yani jawapannya dibolehkan dengan syarat kita tidak menzaliminya. Diharamkan kita menzalimi binatang dengan tidak memberikan makanan dan minuman. Kalau sekiranya kita memberikan makanan dan minuman dan kita menjaganya dengan baik, maka tidak ada masalah kita menyimpan burung ataupun kucing, binatang-binatang yang dibolehkan dalam Islam, kita menyimpannya di dalam yakni rumah. Soalan seterusnya menanyakan kakak ipar minta gunakan duit mak untuk buat korban dan hajikan mak, sedangkan mak ada demensia, tidak faham bila dikasih tahu saya nak keluarkan duit simpanannya. Apa yang saya faham daripada soalan ini, anak-anak nak menghajikan mak, anak-anak nak menghajikan maknya dan nak melakukan korban bagi ibunya. Tetapi ibunya sekarang dalam keadaan demensia. Maksudnya dia tidak dapat faham apabila orang berbual dengannya. Jadi disebabkan duit ini tetap duit mak, adakah dibolehkan bagi anak-anak untuk menggunakan duit ini maknya yang sedang dalam keadaan sedemikian, yang akalnya ini tidak berfungsi dengan betul? Adakah dibolehkan bagi mereka untuk menggunakan duit ini ibu mereka untuk menghajikan ibu mereka ataupun yakni melakukan korban bagi ibu mereka? Jawapannya adalah dibolehkan bagi anak-anak melakukan sedemikian. Sebab ibu bapa apabila telah sampai yakni kepada had hilang akal ataupun demensia yang mana keadaannya agak teruk, dia tidak dapat berfikir lagi, maka urusan harta ibunya sekarang yakni diberikan yakni kepada walinya. Maka walinya di sini yakni balik yakni kepada anak-anak yang menjaganya. Maka anak-anak mereka yakni yang melihat maslahat ini bagi ibu bapa yang berada dalam keadaan sedemikian. Kalau sekiranya ibunya belum lagi melakukan haji, maka mereka mengambil sebahagian daripada wangnya dan menghajikannya. Sebab ibunya dalam keadaan yang tidak boleh melakukan haji, maka kita boleh melakukan badal haji bagi ibu. Begitu juga yakni kita boleh menggunakan duit tersebut yakni untuk korban. Ini semua kita mengatakan balik yakni kepada maslahat. Maka ahli waris boleh menggunakan duit yakni ibu bapa mereka untuk yakni maslahat ini bagi mereka. Apa yang tidak dibolehkan adalah kalau sekiranya anak-anak mengambil yakni duit ini tersebut yakni tanpa hak ataupun yakni menzalimi ini ibu bapa yakni yang dalam keadaan sedemikian. Jadi orang yang menguruskan harta ibu bapa yang berada dalam keadaan sedemikian ini mesti amanah. Mesti seorang yang amanah, yang ini bukan seorang yang khianah. Jadi ini adalah perkara yang kita harus memahaminya. The question is asking that a mother yani has come into a state of dementia and the children and wants to perform hajj for her and to do any the udhiyah, the kurban on the days of Dhul Hijjah for her. The answer it is permissible. It is permissible with the permission of the guardians, and the guardians here goes back into the children. It is permissible for them to do what is the best for the parents who are in that particular state. If the parents have not performed the hajj, they can take the money from the parents savings to perform any hajj for her. Likewise when it comes to the kurban. Assalamualaikum. Waalaikumsalam. I got a question regarding sertu. Do I have to sertu after accidentally touching pork? As only one madhab said that. And in concern to pork, it is wajib based on the madhab al-Imam Shafi'i, the prevailing judgment, that it is wajib for you to perform any sertu if you touch any pork. But of course there are conditions that one of it must be moist or wet. But if your hand any is dry and the pork any is dry, then there is no need any for you to do. There is no need any for you to do sartu. And if I have to do so, do I have to sartu in direct places such as my phone after wiping my hand before touching? It depends. It depends any if what you call it, your hand any is wet and you touch any the pork, and then after that you touch any your phone with the wetness. Now the filth any is transferred any in this case. So the two things any are affected any by the filth. Then it is compulsory any to perform any the sartu any using any soil based any on the hadith any of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 7 times any 6 times any with water, any 1 times any with soil. Although any there are differences any amongst any our scholars, any some scholars any mention it is not any required. It is only specifically any to dogs, but it is better for us any to do it any when we have any the capacity for, so that any we go out any of all any differences any of our scholars, and so that any there is no waswas, any there is no doubt any after that. Otherwise any we enter any into prayer, any shaytan any will do his waswas, and we will live any in doubt, thinking any that our prayer any will not be valid. So it is better any for us to perform any sartu, and this also as what I mentioned any based any on prevailing any judgment and qawl al-mu'tamad in our madhab. And of course this is any something important, and for those who are practicing any fiqh will understand any the importance any of the prevailing any judgment, and so that any we practice any our deen any based any on any profound any evidences any of the Quran any and the Sunnah based any understanding any of the fuqaha al-mujtahidun. And this is important any for us any to understand when it comes any to dealing any with fiqh and practicing knowledge any in fiqh. So again, it is important for us any to take note that dry does not make it obligatory for us any to perform sartu. So I hope any it is clear inshallah ta'ala. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin. Or there's another one, sorry. We will take any one more question. Assalamu alaikum Ustaz. Wa alaikum salam. I have a question. I have a wet dream and the semen got mixed with urine. After a few hours after I washed myself, I realized that there are some dried semen on my leg. The problem is I remember touching that part, and I touch many other objects, laptop, phone, books with my hand. If it is considered najis, do I have to clean all the object any that I touch, or I only clean some and leave the other? This question part of it the answer is the same as what I mentioned earlier. Al-jafu bil-jaf la yanjusu bila khilaf. And we have a qaida in fiqh that dryness does not cause any filth to be transferred. If you are sure that your semen is mixed with urine, which normally that is not the case. Semen do not mix with urine. But if you say so, if you are convinced that that semen is mixed with urine, then it becomes mutanajjis in this case, because the origin of semen is that it is pure. Sperm is pure. But in a case where sperm is mixed with urine, now it becomes mutanajjis, and it's mixed with filth. So now it carries a different ruling. We say this is mutanajjis, so it is compulsory upon us to cleanse ourselves from that mixture. Then the question he said, then after I wash myself, I realized that there are some dried semen on my leg. So dried semen. So it is compulsory for you to wash that dried semen. But the problem he said that he touched that dried semen, and he touched many other objects. Again, is the filth transferred or not transferred? If your hand is dry and the semen is dry, you touch the semen and then you touch your laptop or your phone, and your hand is dry. If your hand is dry, no issue. If your hand is dry, no issue. Even though initially it was wet, then after that it dried, and you touch your phone or you touch there is no transfer of filth. The same thing as what we mentioned in the previous question when it comes to the filth of the swine. There is no transfer of filth, then there is no need for you to wash. Unless if it is wet and the traces of the filth is present, then it is compulsory for you to wash the things that you touch, because in this case there is a transfer of filth. Wallahu alam bis-sawab. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adhaban nar. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.